So, Wrestlemania. Let's talk about it. As Trick Williams says, I am Chaos Lee, here representing Phantom Wrestling, and yeah, man, WrestleMania last night was something. Okay, I'm going to talk about how I felt about the overall night, what the best match was, what the worst match was, and let's just go ahead and talk about the elephant in the room. Yeah, so the matches didn't feel really long, and I really started noticing that when we had like three matches left, and seemingly only 2 hours had passed. Most of these matches didn't even break 15 minutes. Basically, all of them weren't over 20 minutes except the Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes main event. With Liv Morgan and Stephanie Vicare's match. Actually, I believe, don't quote me on this, but I believe I seen something that said that their match was just about 7 minutes. Like, just about 7 minutes, which is absolutely, like, for one of the better builds on WrestleMania, you would think that the match would actually, be longer. But essentially, this WrestleMania, because of the match length, it just felt like a very insanely priced Monday Night Raw, which is not what you want to say when you're spending $40,000 for front row seats and who knows what to sit in the cheap seats. But look, guys, I'm not gonna lie to you. Watching the show, I couldn't help but like just like, even though I'm here watching it from my house, I still felt really bad for the performers because, again, this is WrestleMania. I'm sure they loved being there, but just to have most of the matches not even span out so long, I don't even understand what like why you would do such a thing. Let's get on a more positive note. Congratulations to Bianca Belair. Her and Montez Ford are having a child. I guess we can all put to rest the theories on why Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins are out, because they're both having kids. So I don't know. If you want to be positive, then I guess you could say, well, Montez Ford and Angelo Dawkins, yeah, we'll drop it. But congratulations to Bianca Belair, rehabbing a finger, having a child. I'm sure she would love nothing more than to be in the ring, but obviously this will overtake anything you do, your job, anything. So congratulations to Bianca Belair. Shout out to John Cena too. Great job hosting. It's always good to see John Cena. But back on the negative note, shall we? The worst match. Let's talk about that. So to me, and I want to be objective when I say this, but the worst match to me was the first match. The match with Logan on the card. You obviously know this really had no place being on a WrestleMania other than the inclusion of Speed, which after the match, he did wind up, pulling off his theatrics. It looked like Logan Paul was going to hit a moonsault, and it turns out actual Speed hit his moonsault. Really cool stuff. It's really cool when seemingly everybody can get on the same page about a visitor in wrestling. ISO Speed, clearly super athletic guy. I watch him, or at the very least I see clips of the things that he does in the streaming world. Super cool kid. So I'm sure WB will have their doors open whenever he does return, and honestly, it's welcome. He just seems like a really good energy, really cool kid. And of course, you got to remember this kid is not even 25 yet, so it's like him watching wrestling and him being able to go to WrestleMania as a performer, like that's That's really cool. Honestly, you can't hate on that. Um, Overall, I would probably have gave this match a D plus. Another low light I want to bring out: the crowd atmosphere. Crowd, you get an F. The crowd only really cared about a few moments, seemingly. Obviously, the high spots in a lot of the matches, and Paige returning, which super shock. To some, there was a crowd in the sign that said Paige is back after Michael Cole had said, "Oh man, who would have seen this coming?" So, nice little gotcha moment from the cameraman. But team championships. So, yeah, that's still happening. But of course, having Paige come back to WrestleMania, me personally, I would have had her come back on the Raw after WrestleMania. Would have made for a great surprise, just have her, go face to face with Becky Lynch or AJ Lee or anybody she really would have chemistry with. Anyone from that era, I would assume. Maybe Charlotte, something like that. So, I would just went a different direction there. Now let's talk about the best match. The best match. I think we can all agree what the best match is. And it is 100% Seth Rollins with Braun Breaker coming back and costing Seth Rollins the match, which he did. Me and Phantom Silas had predicted that this would be the end to that match, and it was. Phantom predicted an A+. I predicted, I believe, a B, if I'm not mistaken. And you know what? I was wrong. It was better than my expectations, or what I expected at least. And I am going to give this match an A. I'm going to give it an A. Not an A+, but an A. It was explosive from start to finish. It was magnificent. For these guys to have had nothing to do with each other the entire way, to suddenly getting thrown into a WrestleMania match is absolutely awesome. The fact that they were able to give us this, and I would love to see this match later on, maybe for the World Heavyweight Championship one day, but we'll find out that situation tonight. So, I want to bring up another shitty aspect of tonight. Was it just me, or did we get absolutely just bombarded with ad after ad after ad? I mean, seriously. Again, like I said, the matches, they didn't really, again, they didn't go over 15 minutes for a lot of these matches. So you got to ask yourself, how long did ads take up this show? I mean, seriously, I don't want to go into another rant saying that, TKO, WB, they're greedy, which, it would basically be like saying you need air to live. But it's just absolutely crazy that you book your performers, you get them on the show. This is a lifelong dream to have a lot of them go to WrestleMania at all. And first off, let's talk about the ESPN too. Let's talk about the first hour. You got 2 matches for the first hour of WrestleMania. Most of the first hour of WrestleMania really was just ads for the most part. And even when watching WrestleMania, you were hit with more ads. I would think you're getting me to pay $30 for ESPN Unlimited. On a normal basis, I wouldn't have to watch ads. But when I watch WrestleMania, when I watch anything having to do with WWE, I'm watching a ton of ads. It's really kind of ridiculous. WWE, you're already charging an arm and a leg to get to your shows. Throw a bone to the people that are at home. I would assume that the people in the crowds just wait around, or maybe they're getting shown ads too. I don't know. But us at home, again, we went from paying $5 on Peacock to paying $30 on ESPN. Throw us some type of bone. On top of that, on a lighter note, I guess, the Hulk Hogan stuff. So WWE, they like to try very hard to act like Hulk Hogan wasn't who he was outside of wrestling. And I know that someone that is someone's job in WB, TKO, whatever you want to blame here, to watch social media and see how people feel about stuff. Otherwise, how would they know to pivot on certain aspects? It's not just intuition all the time. It's because the people are demanding things. Go to the Daniel Bryan stuff, the Cody Rhodes stuff, the Sami Zayn stuff even. They watch, they look. So you know how we feel about the Hulk Hogan stuff. Most people do, at least. At least if you're not under the age of 45, then you're not, you don't have a problem with them showing Hulk Hogan. But they choose WrestleMania to kind of shoehorn this autobiography or this whatever they're doing for Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania. I don't think it's the right place, personally. If you want to do this on Monday Night Raws, on SmackDowns, whatever the case may be, where people may or may not be watching, that's cool. But WrestleMania, I guess their excuse was this is the first WrestleMania that Hulk Hogan, his energy was missing. And I guess I understand. I'm not a monster. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, well, Hulk Hogan doesn't deserve, because, again, he was a huge fixture in wrestling. I'm mature enough to say that Hulk Hogan, the wrestler, does deserve his due. Terry Bollea, the man, definitely should be condemned. So, again, it feels like if you're celebrating Hulk Hogan, you're celebrating Terry Bollea. It would be the same thing as if we showed Chris Benoit and we showed, Chris Benoit, the wrestler, was just this awesome being and yada yada, and then they act like we have to condemn. Like it kind of feels the same. And no, I'm not comparing being a racist to being a piece of shit murderer. Fuck both Chris Benoit and Terry Bollea. But you can give Hulk Hogan respect, whatever. So I had a problem with that too, on top of tons of ads being shown, but whatever. It is what it is, right? Overall, I want to talk about this overall atmosphere of WrestleMania. Again, the crowd wasn't really into it. Most of the matches were short. We got hit with a ton of ads. Usually matches were We didn't get any big surprises other than, Paige returning, Bianca's pregnancy announcement. That's really Braun Breaker returning. The crowd was really electric for the Gunther and Seth match most of the way through. But most matches, the crowd just really didn't care. Again, they were kind of like this on the SmackDown leading into WrestleMania. I don't know if, they just felt depressed knowing that they had to basically sell their house to get to WrestleMania to have this moment. But it was just obvious that there was something wrong in the crowd, and we can't pinpoint exactly what it was, but again, it just didn't feel right. Now, I don't know if Phantom wants to chime in on how he feels about the matches. I didn't want to talk about the matches, match to match per se. I just wanted to talk about the entirety of WrestleMania because it really just wasn't going to matter once I got to this point. How I feel about WrestleMania as a whole, if I had to give it a grade, night one, to me, if I'm going 1 out of 10, I'm going to give it a 6. If I'm giving it a 0 star out of 5 star, it's getting a 2.5. The atmosphere just felt off. The matches were too short. You didn't give people enough time to really get into the matches, really. They ended before people began getting excited, and then matches were over. So it just really doesn't matter when you're talking about the matches, because you're not going to be talking about them for long, truth be told. Again, I give respect to most of the competitors here tonight. I give respect to, no, not even most, all of them, because they had to go out there and do this. And now tonight, we have to see Obafemi and Brock in the first match. I forget what the second match they're showing for free tonight, but no matter what the case may be, night one wasn't great last year either, if I can remember. But I'd be remiss if I didn't bring up the main event. So let's talk about that main event, and then I'll let you guys go on about your day. I'm not going to break down every single thing that happened in the main event, because ultimately the main event was decent too. Of course, it was high energy. It had to have been high energy just based off of what this feud should have been. And of course, I've said my case on this. I'm not wearing this hat for no reason, by the way. This is just how I felt most of WrestleMania, just dead. So, yeah, we kick off the main event with Pat McAfee getting a 4-minute entrance. I don't know why someone that, like, the manager of one of the guys are getting an entrance. I've never seen a manager just get their own entrance before in my life, other than maybe Miss Elizabeth when she was going against Macho Man Randy Savage and Hulk Hogan. But, like, what other manager has gotten their own entrance before? Yeah, it's weird how they've been booking Pat McAfee like he matters in this entire thing. And even on SmackDown, they tried to, use some type of crowd control and say Randy doesn't care about Pat McAfee. I don't need him, but I want him here. So it just sounds really stupid to me. The inclusion of this kind of just means they were trying to sell tickets. Again, Pat McAfee gets shoehorned here to say how much the company sucks, and then he talks about, hey, here's a deal. Here's a deal for WrestleMania. And then here we are. So, yeah, I don't get it. I don't understand. But we kicked this match off with Pat McAfee being, beat up, kicked out. So we don't have to deal with him most of the match. Again, the match was high energy. The crowd just cared when it was time to care. And you've seen Cody hitting RKOs. You've seen Cody looking like a heel most of the match. And I really was expecting a double turn. I was expecting Cody Rhodes to turn heel. I was expecting Cody Rhodes to, finally go there. Like, he just looked like a heel all night. He looked like a heel most of this match, much like he did when they went against each other in Saudi Arabia. He looked like a heel there too. So I guess if you want to make sense of this, this is the direction you go. I don't think the crowd will mind a double turn, truth be told. But let's just fast forward, shall we? This match ends with shenanigans, of course. Pat McAfee returns. He almost costs Cody Rhodes the match, or at the very least prevents Randy Orton from losing. Jelly Roll comes out. Jelly Roll gets rid of Pat McAfee. I mean, it's crazy. People were cheering Jelly Roll. I couldn't believe it was happening. And yeah, that was that. Eventually, we fast forward, and he punt kicks Cody Rhodes, and that was that. So I don't know if they're going with the story of Cody is going to take a little break after WrestleMania and then return and then get his revenge, or Cody's not going to be able to defend the title and he vacates it and someone else can be champion, or I don't know what's going to happen. But I've never seen someone just show up on the night after getting kicked in the head. When Randy Orton hits a punt kick, you're gone for a minute. So that's how they should go with this. But this is Cody Rhodes we're talking about. So you may very well see him on SmackDown with just a bandage on his head. I don't know. So, yeah, that was your main event. Again, energy wasn't there. I give the crowd an F. Or at the very least, I'll give them a D-, because again, you didn't give you much to care too much for, at least in the main event's sake. Some matches were beautifully executed. But overall, night one, not the best start. I fully expect night two to do much better. Of course, you got the best example of doing so in Obafemi and Brock Lesnar. I fully expect them to start off with a chaotic energy, pun intended. And yeah, it's just obvious. So the main event has to end the way everyone wants it to, because again, you send everyone home unhappy. Good luck selling them tickets for WrestleMania in Saudi Arabia, but who knows? they'll sell. So, yeah, I'm ready for tonight. Hopefully you are too. Hopefully you get what you want on Monday Night Raw, and hopefully we all just go to sleep feeling like it was worth it. So, yeah, enjoy the show. I hope I will.